The Northern Territories are the next Pearl Harbor. Why would Japan reclaiming the Northern Territories preemptively end the Russia-Ukraine war? The Northern Territories, which include Kunashir Island, Etorofu Island, the Shikotan Islands, and the Habomai Islands, are disputed territories between Russia and Japan. Situated between Russia's Far East and Japan's Hokkaido, the Northern Territories serve as a critical gateway for the Russian Pacific Fleet entering the Pacific Ocean. They also possess abundant fishery resources and potential oil and gas reserves, which are economically significant. From both strategic and economic perspectives, the Northern Territories are a contested domain for both Russia and Japan. To Japan, these islands are akin to Donetsk and Zaporizhia to Ukraine. The strategic significance of the Northern Territories closely parallels that of Pearl Harbor, with similarities in their status as strategic fortresses during wartime, occupied by an enemy state of Japan. Japan has a history of employing surprise attack tactics, making the historical parallel striking. Although the new security laws do not allow Japan to engage in aggressive acts, Japan considers this region its territory, thus deeming the reclaiming of the Northern Territories a legitimate defense action. Wars require sufficient moral justification and favorable odds of victory. Post-World War II Japan, facing a nuclear power like Russia, could only endure in silence, but the current situation is different. The ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict has led to global condemnation of Russia, placing attacks against Russia on a moral high ground. The prolonged war has left Russia short on manpower, evidenced by borrowing mercenaries from North Korea, signifying a decline in Russian military strength. Years of warfare have not seen Russia use nuclear weapons against Ukrainian invasions, diminishing the likelihood of Russia employing nuclear arms. Recapturing the Northern Territories appears less challenging. Looking back at the history of the Northern Territories, Japan discovered these islands before Russia, after which many Japanese settled there and gradually established rule over the islands. Prior to this, Russian influence had never reached areas south of Europe Island. In 1855, Japan and Russia peacefully signed the Treaty of Friendship, the Shimoda Treaty, confirming the then naturally formed border between Kunashir and Europe Islands. Since then, the Northern Territories were never foreign territory again. However, on August 9, 1945, near the end of World War II, the Soviet Union violated the still effective Japan-Soviet Neutrality Pact and entered the war against Japan. After Japan accepted the Potsdam Declaration, between August 28 and September 5 of the same year, the Soviets occupied all territories of the Northern Territories. At that time, there were no Soviets residing in the Northern Territories, while the Japanese population was around 17,000. However, in 1946, the Soviet Union unilaterally incorporated the four islands into its territory and forcibly expelled all Japanese residents by 1949. Since then, without any basis under international law, the Soviet Union, Russia, has continued to occupy the area to this day. One significant reason for Trump's re-election as President of the United States was the American economic issue. Persistently high prices and uncontrolled government debt were the primary problems Trump aimed to address in his second term. The newly established Department of Government Efficiency, headed by Musk, also indicates the new administration's intent to reduce expenditures, especially military spending. Trump's logic focuses on profit and efficiency. The Russia-Ukraine war clearly is not a cost-effective investment project. With substantial sunk costs already incurred, abruptly ending support for Ukraine is not advisable. The optimal strategy should be to quickly conclude the Russia-Ukraine war. Thus, Japan drawing Russia's attention to the Far East becomes the best solution. Capturing four islands lacking supplies would not require a massive effort and is cost-effective. With Russia out of soldiers and unlikely to initiate nuclear weapons, the risk is low. What are your thoughts on whether Japan will seize the opportunity of the Russia-Ukraine war to reclaim the Northern Territories? Feel free to leave your comments.